Sir Simon Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Although there is no vacancy, would the Foreign Secretary think that it's extremely generous of Donald Trump to suggest who should be our ambassador in the United States? And in that measure of fraternity, might he suggest that the best person to fill the vacancy for the ambassador to the United Kingdom next year would be Hillary Rodham Clinton? Though I suspect the last thing she'd want to do is be associated with the incoming administration.
I think the right honourable gentleman might want to be the ambassador to the United States. Foreign Secretary.
Well, Mr. Speaker, you anticipate what I was about to say, because of course, my right honourable friend would be a very good candidate. On the other hand, as the House knows full well, we have a first-rate ambassador in Washington doing a very good job of relating both with the present administration and the administration-to-be, and there is no vacancy for that position.
Mr. David Winnick.
As regards ambassadors to either country, can I also make a suggestion, namely that the unofficial ambassador from the United States to Britain, an excellent choice, and I emphasise unofficial, would be Brandon Victor Dixon, the actor who spoke out to the Vice President-elect about American values and was criticised by the future President. Mr. Dixon is the sort of person who is associated with all that is best in the United States.
Well, of course, Mr. Brandon Dixon, of whom I'm afraid I had been hitherto unaware, is perfectly at liberty to come to this country, as you know, assuming all visa requirements are met, and to spread his message. But we look forward to a new American ambassador in due course to follow in the footsteps, if I may say so, one of the most distinguished U.S. ambassadors we have seen in this country in recent years, Matthew Barton.
I would call the honourable gentleman for Central Suffolk and North Ipswich, who has a very similar question if he were standing, but he wasn't, so I won't. But he is, so I might. Dan Poulter.
Mr. Speaker, diplomats require diplomacy, and would my right honourable friend agree with me that there should be no place for anyone who expresses inflammatory and what sometimes could be considered to be bordering on racist views in representing this country in discussions with the United States?
Secretary.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend, and I think he catches the mood of the House, Mr. Speaker, and I think we've already settled that question. We have an excellent ambassador in Washington doing a first-rate job, and there is no vacancy.
Mr. David Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Could the Foreign Secretary give some clear indication to the new US administration that we value the Baltic states and their independence very highly, and that as part of the responsibilities we have in NATO, he will support and encourage the new administration to say the same things?
Well, Secretary. The honourable gentleman will know that that is one of our top priorities for our Global Britain campaign. As he will know, we have an enhanced forward presence in the Baltic states. A battalion is being sent there, and it is of course vital that we get over the message that NATO and Article 5 of NATO has been the guarantor of peace and stability in our continent for the last 70 years, and that is a point I think that is well understood in Washington, but which we will repeat.
Mr. Keith Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think we are all relieved that the Foreign Secretary has ruled out Mr. Farage. In this post-truth world, we might have assumed that he might have been sympathetic, given they had campaigned together so remarkably on Brexit. But can the Foreign Secretary perhaps outline to the House his thinking in terms of what he is going to say when he visits the United States of America about our future relations, given that we have always been the conduit between Europe and the United States of America?
I think my honourable friend asks a thoughtful question and a very important question, because it is vital that we get our message over about as I've said to member opposite the vital importance of NATO, of free trade and free enterprise, and of the sticking up for the values that I believe unite our two countries. And that is the message that I know that the Prime Minister will be getting across when she goes there, and certainly it's the message that we will be delivering at all levels from the UK government.
Salmond.
But in a secret telegram printed in the Sunday Times, our ambassador boasted that the UK is best placed of any nation to steer the new president's foreign policy and encourage his more extreme ideas to evolve. Would the presidential edict or tweet to replace Sir Kim Darroch with Lord Farage be a sign of early success of that policy?
Secretary.
I think the right honourable gentleman is too early in his verdicts. We are going to engage with the administration to be at all levels. We are already doing so. I had a very good conversation with Vice President-elect Mike Pence, and we see eye to eye on a great many matters, and as I say, there is no vacancy in Washington for our excellent ambassadorial role.
Mr. Alex Salmond.
The Foreign Secretary, in the space of the last few weeks, has gone from not going to New York in case he's mistaken for Mr. Trump to saying he's the opportunity for the Western world, which is a political pirouette of which Ed Balls would be proud. So, can the Foreign Secretary realise what we're dealing with in the new President of the United States, and wouldn't this country's policy be helped by coherence, consistency and a bit of common sense?
Secretary.
I think that what the world needs now is the UK to build on its relations with the United States, which is, I think most people in this House would accept, are of fundamental importance for our security. And as I've said very candidly to honourable members, those are the 3 points, the 3 essential points that we will be making to our friends: the vital importance of the transatlantic alliance of NATO, the importance of free trade and free enterprise, and of jointly promulgating the values that unite our two countries. That is the message.